I'm back with another Stardew video. With the Stardew Valley 1.6 update finally making its way to console and mobile platforms, I thought it was time for me to make a little bit of a patch notes deep dive for all of you who are curious to see how the 1.6 update has changed since it first released. Because if you don't know, we are on version 1.6.9 now. And if you're anything like me and want to know what you're getting yourself into before playing the game, then just keep on watching. Because Stardew has changed quite a bit since 1.6. So let's just hop into it. Alright, so we know 1.6 added a ton of new stuff. I do have a deep dive on 1.6 patch notes on my YouTube channel from when 1.6 first dropped if you want to check that out. I'll leave it linked somewhere on here. But let's move on from 1.6 and we can look at the other versions that have dropped since then. I won't be reading every single bullet point here because that would take very long. Just kind of some of the more important things that you'll actually notice. So version 1.6.1 was just kind of some bug fixes, was released literally on the same day as 1.6, so we'll skip that. 1.6.2 was released a couple days later. Balance changes is what we're going to be looking at the most. That and quality of life changes. Added scaling edibility to juice, jellies, wine, and pickles. I don't really know what that means, but what I'm guessing is like each individual jelly, juice, wine gives you a different amount of food or like energy. That's what I'm guessing. The void egg is now poisonous, so don't go around eating void eggs. Not that I don't think anybody did that, but anyways. With 1.6.3, we have some new content and features. You can now access Clint's shop and geode services while your tool is being upgraded. That's big. That was always a major annoyance for many Stardew players. A Krobus portrait was added. In 1.6, there was a bunch of new spouse portraits added, and Krobus didn't get one for some reason, but now Krobus does have one, so that's good. There's now an added minecart shortcut to Year 1 Spirits Eve Festival. Just Year 1? What about Year 2? I feel like there is one for Year 2 as well, but I don't know for sure. So yeah, after you finish the haunted maze, you will be able to just teleport back to the front instead of having to go all the way back through the maze. And you can now paint new cabins at the 3rd upgrade level. Some balance changes here. None of these are super significant, except this one, reduced meteorite prismatic shard chance, reduced from 100% to 25%. So if you don't know, when 1.6 first dropped, if you happen to get a meteorite on your farm and break it open with, I think, a gold pickaxe or higher, you had a 100% chance of getting a prismatic shard, but that has been nerfed to 25%. Also, there was a chance for the traveling merchant to sell ancient seeds after 1.6 dropped, but that is no longer possible. And version 1.6.4 has a lot of stuff. This added 20 new alternate mine layouts, which can start appearing after reaching the bottom of the mines. These are always super exciting to come across. There's also 20 new volcano mine layouts, which can appear after you've unlocked the shortcut between the caldera and the volcano entrance. I think the caldera is the middle place with the dwarf after reaching level 5. This patch also added fish frenzies, which if you're curious about these, we can look into these a little more. Fish frenzies. So you'll see a little pop-up at the bottom of your screen when a fish frenzy is activated. It says fish frenzies are events that can randomly happen during the day before 11 p.m. Pretty much anywhere where there's a body of water. Fish frenzies will always last for 90 minutes, and once 90 minutes have passed, there is a 10% chance for the frenzy to end. During a frenzy, bubbles will spawn for a specific fish. When a fish frenzy happens, players are notified with a message letting you know which fish has the frenzy and where it's at. When fishing in these bubbles, only the fish for the frenzy can be caught. So it's a good way to get a whole bunch of one specific fish. There's a new special cutscene after you've completed the raccoon family questline. The raccoon family was one of the major things added in the 1.6 update, but now we get a special little cutscene after completing that questline. Added 4 new fairy styles. Fairies are something you can find after achieving combat mastery. Fairies will heal you in combat, and they just come in new colors now, so that's nice. There's now some new items that you can place into fish tanks. I made a TikTok/YouTube short about some of these new items. I'll try to remember to link that up here as well if you want to check that out. I know one of them is Lewis's Lucky Purple shorts, so that's hilarious. The raccoon shop that was added in 1.6 now includes a trade for mystery boxes and golden mystery boxes. I actually didn't know this one. Vinegar can now be poured onto trees to stop them from ever growing moss. Interesting. And if you have the shaving enchantment on an axe, it now causes tree specific drops depending on the kind of tree you're chopping down. You know what, let me make this a little bigger. Okay, that's a little better. This update also brought in some balance changes. We now have more variety and improvements to the Skull Cave treasure chests. If you have monster spawns on your farm, there's a new kind of monster called the Iridium Golem, and it now has double the chance to drop Iridium. Life elixirs now only restores health, and energy tonics only restore energy. I never really used life elixirs or energy tonics before, so I think in the past they brought up both, but now it's one or the other. Going down a level in the mines now makes you invulnerable for 1 second. 2nd. This one's pretty big. Golden mystery boxes now have a chance to yield an auto petter. Previously, the only way to get an auto petter was either to do a Joja run, or you could only get it through Skull Cavern treasure chests. So this is huge. We also have a slightly reduced chance to find mystery boxes, which boo, but whatever, I guess. Mine barrels and coal carts will now refresh at the start of each year. This is a really great quality of life change. There's now a 1.2 second delay after you've dropped an item before it's able to be picked back up by the same player. This is really helpful for multiplayer, especially if you're trying to give something to another player. That way you don't have to drop it and then run away. And moving on to version 1.6.6, bee houses now work with flowers in garden pots. Minecart Depot, which is one of the alternative mine layouts, now only appears in the upper or lava mine areas. I don't know if I've ever even run into Minecart Depot. I don't even really know what that means. You can now turn the gold clock on or off. The gold clock does things like turns off fence decay, turns off debris, and like random things like that. So now you can toggle that on or off. The raccoons now sell mahogany seeds for coal. And this has to do with the new mastery skill stuff, which I won't really get too deep into, but 50% mastery experience now only applies to farming as originally intended. So for some reason, I think farming gives you only 50% of the experience instead of 100%. I don't really know. And 1.6.7 and 1.6.8 were just some little bug fixes. I say little bug fixes, but this one fixed a game-breaking crash, so that's pretty big, I'm not gonna lie. But those are all fixed, so that's good. And as I'm recording this, it is October 31st, so happy belated Halloween. 1.6.9 is not on this version history of the wiki, but it is actually on the wiki. You just have to know where to find it. And I do know where to find it. So actually, I don't know if this is actually considered the wiki, but these are the patch notes for 1.6.9. If you don't know, there's been a public beta of 1.6.9 that players have been able to play. This was mostly for modders to be able to see kind of what this update is all about, and so that they can fix their mods if needed and whatnot. This message is from Concerned Ape saying this isn't a huge content patch, but there are some good bug fixes, quality of life changes, technical updates, and the under the hood stuff that might be of interest to modders. However, whether you are a modder, speedrunner, or just a humble Stardew Valley enjoyer, your testing and bug reports are very much appreciated, and to report any bugs to this link. So let's get into it. We have one bullet point for new content and features. Sam and Shane now have work portraits while working at Joja Mart. I'm very excited to see these new portraits and what they look like. Sam and Shane enjoyers are being fed. And now we have some balance changes to go over. You can no longer take damage while jumping down a mine shaft before the screen fades to black. You can now buy another Advanced Iridium Rod from Willie's shop after unlocking it. The Advanced Iridium Rod is a prize you get from completing Fishing Mastery. Wearing 2 Thorn Rings now deals double damage. Very cool. So the effects of the Thorn Ring will stack. Monsters killed by a Thorn's Ring now drop loot like regular kills. What does the Thorn's Ring even really do? That is the question. I'm not a Thorn Ring girl. When enemies damage you, they will take damage themselves. Cool. So now they'll drop loot if the Thorn Ring kills them. Nice. The Son of Crimson Fish can now be caught during the night market. That's a fish that you can catch during a key quest. Robin no longer constructs buildings during Green Rain in year 1. If you don't know, the Green Rain event takes place on a random day in summer every year. And on the first year, the villagers are all super scared of whatever the hell's going on. So I guess it makes sense that Robin wouldn't want to put herself in harm's way. But after year 1, the villagers start to get more and more used to the Green Rain event, which is a very cool feature because they realize that it's not dangerous. Placing a bomb and then switching to a weapon no longer applies its enchantments to the bomb damage. I didn't even know that was a thing. Fixed exploit where a fish pond with a golden cracker could produce unlimited output. Blade actually has a video on this, which is super interesting, but I guess it no longer works, so sorry. Fixed unintended extra chance of spontaneous green rain trees when loading a save and fall. This was a really weird bug that is just now being fixed. So anytime you would exit the game and re-enter the game in fall after the Green Rain event, I don't know what the exact percentage was, but it was like kind of like a big percentage of trees would just randomly change into Green Rain trees. It was a weird bug, but I guess it's being fixed now. We have a couple of quality of life changes as well. When a save is broken or corrupted, the game now auto recovers it from a backup if possible. Cool. Fish ponds now show the number of row or other output items to collect. The wedding event now replays if you exit and reload the day. Colored items like flowers now also sort by color, and this avoids items being reordered randomly each time you sort your inventory. You can now only sell books to the bookseller via the book purchase menu and not the trade-in menu, and this reduces the chance of accidentally selling a book when you are trying to trade it in. The collections tab now shows artifacts, gems, and minerals once they're donated to the museum, instead of as soon as you find one. I feel like that's a pretty helpful one, so that way you know what you have and have not donated. This next one's pretty big. Clint now refills your watering can when upgrading it. Thank you, Clint. Finally doing something good for once. And the rest of this stuff is just kind of some minor bug fixes that will probably go unnoticed for most players. But thank you, Concerned Ape, for always fixing these bugs and keeping the game playable. So yeah, that is all of the new things that have been added to Stardew Valley 1.6 since 1.6 first dropped. For those of you who have not played Stardew Valley 1.6 since the update dropped like 7 months ago, is it now? I've said it before, I'll say it again. You are our strongest soldiers, and I'm so happy that everybody gets to enjoy this update now. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.